Hello, how are you doing? I was interested in dramatics since 7th or 8th standard, and it was around 2001 or 2. I remember seniors were preparing for a play from a textbook of the senior classes, in which a play used to be part of the curriculum, a textbook of English. I think it was a little more boring in the first appearance, but whatever, it was a play in the end, and I was so excited about it. But the thing was, my role was just to depict a scene where three or four runners are competing, and before they compete, they're having conversation with each other. Still, I was excited that okay, I'm taking some part in it, and it was one of the earliest signal that I was interested in dramatics. The rehearsals went for around a week, and most of the time it used to happen in our school, and later it shifted to another location where we used to travel once. I had just traveled once, and when we came back, due to some reason, the play was cancelled. It was really heartbreaking because it was one of the first foundation thing for me to start with my interest, to nurture my interest in dramatics, and whatever the trivial role may be, the play had been mulled. And I was just told, and I later came to know that actually the play was not cancelled, it was just to keep us from being demotivated. Actually, only the senior classes were being allowed because they said we have got some exams to give, and we are not just allowed to participate into that. Later in 8th, ninth, or 10th, it was more on academics, and I didn't got the time. 11th and 12th, it was even more stressing. I was preparing for engineering examinations, and what to talk about these interests. All the time I was just more or less indulged into high level of academics. It is more of a pressure than the real performance. When I got into college, I joined English club, where it was not such a popular club, but the thing was whatever, we used to have fun, and they used small skits. In that I got the role of office colleague, where I was supposed to say something to my colleague, and the dialogue was only 1 or 2 minutes, there were three dialogues, and I'm saying that dialogues, only one was dialogue, two was expressions. And I used to extend as much as possible because the footage was never on me, and I thought, what if? And I tried for the lead role, but I didn't got it. And anyways, it happened during the day. There was not much audience, but still it felt good. You are preparing for that, and the rehearsals. It's such fun to come up with ideas and make the things improve as a part of the team. And it's always the collective effort. And if you happen to have been in connection with the dramatics, you'll come to know that many of the humors that are performed later in the reality, I mean on the stage, is of the part of the botch, or the mistakes that were done during the rehearsals. And it comes to life because pain gives birth to humor, and that is what happens. And in the second year, I took the role of Jim Carrey, and it was a huge success. And everyone was so exciting, and this was one of the biggest experience I had to face the audience. And when you are on a big stage, and the audience were around to the tune of around 1500 to 2000, and this was one of the biggest audience I have ever faced in my life. And the thing is, when we are performing, there's so much lights focused on you that you won't be able to see anyone. You can just hear the voices coming in between, maybe someone shouting your name, or maybe passing on some comment on your performance, because in the audience there's no one to control, and they can just pass on whatever expression they feel is relevant. And I could just, randomly guess where are the things, at least one or two lines. I was hardly able to figure out, okay, these are the faculties, and beyond them are sitting my friends, the colleagues, and the other college members. And when I started, it was such a great elating experience. I was kind of nervous, and when my turn came, I was not able to figure out, because I was kind of confused and nervous, excited at the same time. And someone just threw me off from the backstage. Hey, it's your turn. And when I went, I didn't care for anything. I wasn't just looking at anybody in particular. I couldn't have, even if I would have liked it. I just rocked my performance of my portion that hardly lasted around 1 or 2 minutes, I think, and it went good. The next year, when I went back, it was such a great experience. Oh, it's always great to cherish. The next year, I decided to take on one of the most challenging roles, that is Mr. Bean. It's really difficult to copy that person, to be into his shoes and try to emulate. He looks simple, but it's really complicated. Really. The play didn't went well, but it gave me a lot of learnings, that what should be done, what should. And that was the end when I did one of my last play of the college. In final year, I was busy with the placements. I decided not to go for the plays. And when I came to office in Calcutta, I first saw the team forming, and it was pretty good. And it was ironically being performed by the team I used to work with. I never came to know that these guys were the performing artists that were behind all these Hindi skits. I did mimicry that day, and it really impressed the people, and they could understand that I have got that knack of natural humor. Next year, I was automatically became a part of that group, and collectively it was a huge success. It was KBC, and the questions were related to the current issues of the office, and there was a humorous touch given to those, maybe the problems faced by the people. And when people are able to identify what is being done and what are the things that can be raised probably, and which cannot be otherwise actually said in front of the HR, it was an indirect attack on the system, and people were able to identify themselves with our play, with our characters. It was again a huge success, and applause was given. And the next year I took the mantle in my hand. I was the lead artist of that group. I wrote the script, I did the direction, I did the screenplay, costumes, and most of the things, and of course not to forget the invaluable inputs that I got from various team members of mine. And in the end, I never imagined that it would be such a huge success. And I decided the random abrupt expressions of mine were such an excitement for the people. I was able to manipulate when they could laugh, when they want, and that wave of relaxation, tension was maintained. And next year I did the Malala, where she's kidnapped, and though it was not a huge success, but still it was a good attempt from our side. And the play has always been a part that I think is more or less is very much reflection of my personality, where I'm able to express and enter into a different world, and all the things are being done right in front of the audience. There's no cutscenes, everything is happening live. And later I joined the drama group, I did some plays, I did some skits, Nukkad Natak, though it has come to a halt after I was married and there were different priorities, and now here I am, but at least I had the experience to divulge into that play, dramatics, and it always remained closer to my heart, and I won't skip an opportunity if it comes ever again. I love it. And these things make sense when you're on a show business, when you're in a business of presentations and being interesting to the audience, it plays a role, lot of role, and with my magic, it does. So that's all from my side today. There you go. Bye. Take care.